Everybody, please welcome the great Danny Boyle. Hey, man. How are you?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
That's a pleasure.
You know, listen, not that I would ever relish in anybody's discomfort or pain, but there is always something about consuming art that really messes people up. And watching the premiere of your film, I heard groans and screams, and then I saw ambulances and paramedics. And as a human, you must hate it, but as a director, you must kind of get off on that.
Well, I don't know. The problem is that, I mean, for a horror movie, it's the perfect recommendation. You know, that's what horror movies like to do. And I think they'd stage things like that at every horror movie preview if they could, only the paramedics give them a hard time when they discover it's fake. But no, this is a real story, and it's an extraordinary journey that the guy goes on. And I wanted people to be immersed in it completely. And in a way, what he does in the end, which is that he has to cut his arm off to get out of this canyon that he's trapped in. I wanted people to experience it really for themselves, almost as though, although it seems impossible, they could do it themselves, really. People say about the story, I could never do that, but actually I think you could, really. I think we are all capable of it.
Well, it's actually something that I feel in a lot of your movies is just that how quickly humans go primal. When things get tough, people can go primal right away.
Yeah. I think intelligence is overrated. I think it's you get into basics quite quickly. Yes, I think so. Certainly in extreme circumstances. Yeah. I mean, he tries to work everything out. He's very, you know, he's an engineer originally. Yeah. He's a wilderness man, but he's an engineer in profession, or he was. And he tries to analyse his situation, and he imagines that will solve the problem, or he imagines his strength, because he's an immense athlete, will solve the problem. None of these things solves the problem. He has a journey to go on, because he has to change something in himself, really, before he can get true release from that rock that's trapped him there.
Well, when someone presents the idea to you, we got a guy who spent several days trapped in a crevice with a rock in his arm. In and of itself, hard to make that, how do you make that story move for 90 minutes to 2 hours?
Well, I think there's nothing more interesting than us, really. That's what we go to. I mean, we think we go to watch special effects in the movies and stuff like that, but actually what you go and watch is actors. And certain actors represent us, and you go and watch them and you're fascinated by them. Yeah. And provided I think you get the right actor, I think it is possible to generate the kind of momentum and the kind of vibrancy that you expect from cinema, which is normally based on changing locations or contrasting scenes or different characters brought in. There's a villain here, you know, a bit of romance here. And we tried to do it all through James Franco, which puts an incredible burden on him, really. But I think it's part of the pact of seeing something different, you know. You want to see something different, that you'll go through this experience with him, and you'll be released in the end by his action.
When you make a film like this, you have to present it to not only the family of the person, but the person who this is about. What was that like for you?
Well, I mean, he helped us make the film to begin with, and then we showed him the finished film. We took it to a screening in New Jersey, and like a preview screening, a test screening. So
what, being trapped in a crevice wasn't hard enough? You made New Jersey part of the story too?
We did, and in fact, Aaron, who obviously has a fake arm, or no arm there at all, we sneaked him in. We gave him a disguise, and we sneaked him in the back of the auditorium. And, of course, they were an amazing audience, because when he actually did cut his arm off, they cheered, the audience. Everybody in New Jersey cheered and gave it a big... And he loved that, of course. And he was very emotional. I watched him a bit of it, and he was blank sometimes, just like a blank. And then other times he was overwhelmed, you know, by seeing James relive it, in a way. And we spent enough time trying to get inside Aaron's head about what it was like to be there. I can't imagine what it's like to be Aaron watching James Franco be there on a screen. It must be insane.
But what about his family? What was it? I mean, his family didn't know a lot of that. I mean, they knew it, but they didn't see that stuff.
No. And I think I mean, we're used to being in front of a live crowd and things like that, but for them, they're very private people, and suddenly they're in this public space. His life, this crucial item in his life, is being lived out, and people are responding to it with gasps and shouts, and then this standing ovation. They found it pretty overwhelming, I think. They were, like, in tears at the end, pouring tears at the end, and almost distressed, really, trying to cope with this affection that was coming at them. And I'd wanted to make this story from before Slumdog. I'd approached Aaron Ralston about it in 2006, but he wanted to make a documentary then, whereas I wanted to make this visceral kind of reimagining of it, really, that you go through as an audience. You live the experience with him again.
I was thinking about you when you were growing up in Manchester. I was curious about in that era, it still is, but in that era especially, I mean, there's a tough blue-collar place. And how does a guy decide I'm going to go in a theater? Like, what was that like when you decide, maybe you got to tell your old man, I am going to get on stage? Or
He thinks you're gay and for a bit, and, you know, I mean, it's just... But you have to kind of, you have to go, you just go where your heart is, really, and they let me do it. My family let me do it, and I went into the theatre, first of all, and I mean, I'd done a bit of acting at school. I have a very loud voice sometimes. And when you're at school, that makes you the lead, because you can reach the back of the auditorium, you can shout it out to the back. So, and I just went through that, and I got into the theatre first, and then television, and eventually film, yeah.
I mean, to kind of break out and to become this guy, do you feel like, I mean, hard work and all that plays into it, but you look at some of the guys you grew up with in a neighborhood that you grew up in, and, you know, it wasn't written that you would become this Oscar-winning director of films, and like it's quite a path.
It's funny. I mean, everybody. I mean, I tell you, it follows you around to your death. I was just speaking to somebody, and they were saying that what you can guarantee is that when you die, rather than Danny Boyle dies in a plane crash or something extraordinary, they'll say Oscar winner Danny Boyle died. It's more important than anything else that's going to happen to you ever again. So it's going to follow you around. No, it's really nice to. People where I come from take a lot of pride in it, actually.
Do they?
Yeah, it's funny. I thought there'd be, you know, resentment and things like that, but actually they take a lot of pride in it. And I think it also means that what they think is, well, if he can do it, anybody can, really.
Do you feel that way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I do. Yeah.
How about the? What do you? I mean, your father. What do you think of all the success?
My dad's very proud. Yeah, he's very. I mean, he doesn't say much by way of pride. You know, it's kind of quite minimal. But, you know, you did well there, lad, is what he'll say. That's about it, really. And I have my own kids now, and I try to bring them up differently. I try to be a bit more emotional with them and show emotion, really. Yeah, you know that generation. Yeah. They don't really show very much emotion, really. But you imagine in some private space, he's kind of, you know, reasonably satisfied.
As a father, do you ever see yourself? Do you ever see your dad? You look at yourself the way you're parenting and go, my God, I've become my dad.
Yeah, all the time. It's terrifying, that. And there's something working out that you have no control over, and you think, oh, please, I wish I could change that, but I can't. I'm just like that. You know, when you start shouting at them for making a mess everywhere and all those kind of things, you know.
It's quite a thing. Anthropology. I want a couple of questions. The world has no idea how close they came to losing you to the priesthood.
Yes.
You were going. Well, isn't that part of your story?
Oh yeah, no. I was. My mum was a very strict Catholic, and I was down to be a priest at a place called Up Holland, a seminary, and I went to a religious school anyway, and they were going to send me off to train as a priest, and it was a priest who I didn't like very much, who said to me, "I don't think you should do that. I think you should wait and see what happens." And of course, what happens is music, cigarettes, girls, cars, drugs, you know, all the kind of fun things happen, and you never think about the priesthood again.
Have you ever been stuck at anything for 127 hours?
I don't think so, no, apart from editing. You spend so long editing.
Where would you want to be stuck for 127 hours?
Oh, my God. In a cinema,
nice.
watching movies that you never catch up with. You'll end your life, and there's so many movies you'll never have seen.
Yeah, true.
It gets worse and worse, this generation as well. There's even more films you'll never see, you know?
What's the movie that makes you cry? It comes on and you're crying.
Oh, I love any... big tearjerkers get for me, you know, anything from E.T. But the film that really makes me cry with absolute pleasure is Apocalypse Now.
Really?
That's my absolute favourite film of all time. Oh, I think when they go out and what they do now, mushroom hunting, and they get off the boat, and it ends with him saying, never get off the boat.
Well, the tiger comes chef, right?
And the tiger jumps out.
Stay on the boat!
Never get off the goddamn boat.
That's right. Will there be a 28 months later?
Well, there's an idea for one, yes, and we're kind of looking at it, seeing if it's possible to make it, yeah. 2012 Olympics, you're an artistic director. How much anxiety? Oh, massive. It's off the scale, really. I mean, it's, like, unbelievable. I don't know what I've done agreeing to do that. It's like, they have this... there's 4 billion people watch it. I mean, it's like, you think, oh, my God. But anyway, we're doing it because they built a stadium near where I live. Not because I live there, obviously, but they built this huge stadium. If you agree to do this, we'll put it next door. Watching the, you know, what they did in Beijing, just the scale of the Chinese Olympics, that's got to be pressure. It is in the sense, but I don't think you can top Beijing because it costs like the gross national product of a large African country, you know, to stage it, and they had that military kind of like organisation, and it reached the pinnacle of a type of games of spectacle, and we're going to go back a bit really and try and make it a bit more intimate and try and be a bit more inclusive with the audience and things like that. So we will change it a lot, yeah. Will you
get Led Zeppelin to reform for that?
I was amazed because he appeared at the end of the Beijing Games, Jimmy Page, and I was trying to explain to my kids, that's Jimmy Page. And they said, no, it's not, it's Leona Lewis who was singing with it. I was saying, no, that's Jimmy. Do you realise who Jimmy Page is? So,
how many times have you heard the joke, oh, Danny Boyle, the pipes are calling?
So my dad, you were talking about my dad earlier, he used to be the barman at this working man's club, and I used to go along there on Sunday lunchtimes after church, and I'd sit at the back with a lemonade, and he would get progressively drunk, and he would end the afternoon singing "Oh, Danny Boy" from the stage.
Nice.
To me at the back. So
Man U or Man City?
I hate Danny Boy. I don't support either of them. I support a team called Bury.
Oh, yeah.
Who are from just outside Manchester. So they're my team. I mean, when I'm abroad, I kind of support United because it gets on Chelsea. People's nerves who support Chelsea or Arsenal.
So what got you beat up more, being in theatre or supporting Bury?
But supporting Bury has had very, very little rewards in any form at all.
The film was called 100 Hours. Danny Boyle, everyone. Drama.com is the website. Thanks for watching. Good to see you.
Thanks very much.
Very nice.
Well done.
Nice spending time with you. I appreciate it.
No, it's great.